And welcome back to another episode of the Not Safe for Work MMA show on the LoudMouth MMA Podcast Network. I'm your host, Kyle Steele, and joining me, per usual, is Mr. Frederick Kirby III.
Young man.
Frederick James Kirby III.
Normally, I would have let you get away with that. I'm not letting you. We just had to do a retake.
We did.
Very rarely do we do retakes. You know what's funny about that?
I don't think we ever have done a retake.
You know what's funny about that?
I wasn't smooth.
I was just about to jerk us off, too. You started, we were fucking having a conversation. You know what? Boom, you hit the button. Look how smooth we are, Jack. We just go live like nothing, and then fucking 3 seconds later, you're like, you know what? Let me redo that. For the first time ever, we had to fucking redo.
I went in. I was like, I wasn't confident. You could hear it in my voice.
Didn't sound right.
I kind of went out of order with the show introduction. I was like, you know what?
You missed that fucking MMA part. You're like, what are we doing here?
These guys at home don't know. I'm just going to restart.
now they fucking know.
The only way they know is if Fred's an asshole and is like, hey, by the way, this guy's dumb.
I just fucking pissed on that fourth wall.
That's the only way they know. All right, we do got some stuff to talk about today, my friend.
Yeah, we got all kinds of good stuff. Are we gonna lead off with the horse shit we were talking about before? Are we gonna jump into the fights? Should we piss Keith off and talk about a bunch of bullshit first before we talk about MMA?
I feel like we should talk about the bullshit first.
That sounds good. So, well, it's not really bullshit. Some of this is important stuff here. You had a procedure done.
I did
recently, so
I did.
That's nothing to joke about.
Yeah, nothing that's too big of a deal. And I'm kind of vague about it, like when I talk about it on Facebook, or whatever else, because I just don't want like. I mean, it's personal. You know what I mean? It's personal. I don't mind saying it here.
On the podcast.
Yeah, I feel like, which is funny. You think
we're friends.
This is where I should be less specific.
Yeah.
So I'm talking to a bunch of people I have no fucking idea.
You're right, exactly. It's just going out to the ethos of the internet.
But I think I actually feel more comfortable like in this space than I do around like all my friends and family. Because fucking none of my friends listen to this shit except for Zach. Zach and Eric, maybe Greg. Like there's like 4 people I know that listen to this shit. Right.
That's what I kind of enjoy about podcasts. Too.
Yeah,
it's like nobody in my real life actually listens to these
but I don't know any of you fuckers.
No support, no fucking shares or retweets from not one cocksucker I know in real life ever has retweeted or shared one podcast of mine. Now that I think about it.
That's because they know you, right? It's like
and they want me to fail, I think. You can't be good looking, have a big honk, and be successful. They don't want me to be fucking successful with this podcast.
They're like, he looks too fucking good.
Yeah, you can have a big honk, be good looking, and be rich. You know? What
That's what it is.
I got fucked.
But yeah, I had to get. So I initially was having issues with my liver, which I still am. But at this point, kind of at first, I was given kind of the worst news. Not like the worst, but like I was basically told more than likely I had cirrhosis. So when I made that video a while back, that's where I was coming from. I'd just been told more than likely of cirrhosis. We got to do a couple other tests, but my liver was so bright that they weren't even able to see anything.
Jesus Christ.
So they knew I was at the very least whatever the high stage of fatty liver disease was, but they thought they'd seen some fibrosis, but they really couldn't tell, and I need to get a biopsy and whatever else. So after all of that, I found out that I don't have cirrhosis.
Well, that's a fucking good
So
thing.
what I have with my liver, I can reverse.
Good.
So, and I'm doing that. I've been relatively healthy. I've had a couple days where I fell off the wagon. But other than that, I've lost about 25 pounds or so.
Well, right.
My highest was about 275. I'm about 250 right now.
Is that what it was? Like, not to get too it was just like a little fatty, just like your fucking diet and shit. Like, it's not like you're fucking sitting around. You got a very large whiskey collection, but it's not like you're sitting around pounding Bud Lights all day or some shit.
No, this is fatty liver. Has nothing to do with alcohol. Non-alcoholic fatty liver disease is what it's called.
Diet and all that bullshit.
It's not even related. Yeah, but with someone of my age and even my size, my liver's in a lot worse shape than most people, right? So there's something else that's kind of led to that. I mean, obviously, you and I have talked.
Sure.
I've probably talked in this podcast, but I've been clean for 11 years, just over 11 years. But I did a lot of drugs, so I'm sure that also didn't help my liver back in the day. But yeah, but I've been clean for 11 years. Kudos to me. You guys can at home. You can clap because
we need
that's a big deal.
We need a sound bar.
Listen, clean for 11 years is no fucking joke, man. That shit is tough.
Oh shit!
And I saw it. I probably have said this on this podcast, but I'll say it again because it was one of the most eye-opening things for me in recovery, because I'm still in recovery. I'll always be in recovery. That doesn't change.
That's how that works, right?
Yeah, it doesn't change. I'll be in recovery for the rest of my life. I'm not in active addiction anymore. Active addiction is usually the first year that you're clean, right? You're kind of in what's called active addiction,
right?
But it's not like it goes away. It's not like you get past that year mark and you're no longer in. I'll be inactive for the rest of my life,
right? Well, sorry to cut you off, but like we were sort of talking about this before we went live, and I was just saying that like that's why like I've never tried a hard drug. I smoke like a freight train. I like to get drunk from time to time, but I've never tried a hard drug because I feel like once you try it, you can't take that back.
Yeah.
Like you can't want a steak if you've never had a good steak dinner. You know what I mean? You don't know what you're missing. But the moment you catch that high, you'll never forget it. Like you caught the high. So for the rest of your motherfucking life, you'll always remember what that vibe was like.
Yeah.
So you'll always have to be like, all right, yeah, that shit was lit. But that'll fuck me over in a major way. So
the thing,
no blames.
And you hear about this if you are an ex-addict, or again, ex-addict as in you're no longer an active addiction.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean, though.
Yeah.
You deserve that. Like, I dig what you're saying. You're always an addict, but sometimes that's a bit demoralizing.
Yeah,
you're not necessarily a fucking addict, for fuck's sake.
Yeah,
Easy.
you call yourself an ex-addict. But anyway, if you're no longer an active addiction and you're not continuing to go to any type of therapy or not going to like
Groups and
the
shit.
family of addicts or whatever it is, right? One of the things that you kind of might be not hearing, and I would like to say, because I'm sure there's quite a few people who are listening right now who struggle with addiction.
Sure.
I'll tell you, this is what happens when you've been clean for a long time and clean for 11 years. And the gymnastics that I'm going through now are my brain is trying to convince me that, dude, you've been clean for 11 years. And for me, it was opiates. So I've been clean for 11 years. So my brain is doing this mental gymnastics where it's like, but dude, if you like took a Vicodin now, like it's been 11 years.
Right.
You probably wouldn't even get addicted because of everything you've done. Right. If you took a Percocet now, like
this is like as you're speaking, I see that little devil. Right, like he's on your left shoulder. It's like that's exactly what the devil said. Come on, Jack, you can handle a little bit. Let's party, let's have a little fun. What are you doing? Don't be a fucking pussy.
You start, and I think anybody that you talk to that's been clean for a long period of time, and then I'll get to my original point, which really ties back into this. But anyone that's been clean for a long period of time, I think they'll all share kind of a similar story. You get clean for so long that your brain starts slacking a little bit and starts going, hey. Do you remember that you took opiates because you were anxious or because you were whatever? And guess what? You're still feeling that way.
Sure.
You're still feeling that way. So I got a proposition for you, Kyle. Just take like 2 Vicodin. Just do like 2.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're 31, you got kids, you got a wife. You're not going to get addicted to it again.
Right.
Just take the 2. You'll be all right.
Right.
And that's the voice that's been recently, especially going through all this shit, that's been in my head.
Right.
So now I'm trying to like, I haven't done anything.
Sure.
And I fucking won't. And I know that. I trust myself.
Right.
But I also have a lot more to lose.
Right.
So I can't fuck around with it. So I'm going through that. I'm probably going to not check myself in, but I'm probably going to go down to like FOA or I need to do something. I need to like kind of restart my brain a little bit because I'm a lot more shaky right now than I ever imagined. I'm getting really real right now. I'm starting to tear up. I'm struggling a little bit. I don't know why. I don't know why. All of a sudden that this is like
it makes
something
sense.
that I'm dealing with in my head where my brain is actively going, and not heroin specifically.
No, sure.
But like I'm doing this weird thing where it's like, dude, you could take
You got a little
2
taste.
Vicodin or something.
You got a little taste of that sauce. They gave you that shit that Michael Jackson was using to sleep, baby.
That's what it
You're
was.
like, Shazam! That no, listen.
Shit. That's literally what it is.
All joking aside, that you got a taste of the drug again, and
So
even
the
if it
problem
was just
is-
to sedate you for this procedure.
So here's the story. So so it was my liver, and then part of what they needed to do was to kind of check out everything else.
just give you a
digestive-wise.
Mel sort of once over.
Check everything over. So they're going. They went in both ends.
Yeah,
so
they're checking everything out. The rooter and the tutor, the whole most of it.
Yeah, they did an endoscopy.
I'll fucking die probably before that happens to me. I'm
Did a
telling you right now.
colonoscopy.
I don't even think my whole can take it.
You got this,
I don't
dude.
know,
It
man.
wasn't.
I'm telling you,
It's real talk.
it's not as bad as you think.
There's nothing to be scared of.
Yeah.
I'll give you the whole story. So
I'll tell you
Keith, I'm so sorry. I know we'll spend 15 minutes on this. We're connecting with the fans, Keith. Don't yell at me. We're connecting with the fans.
Oh, we know. Listen,
I got as real as I've been on any of these things right there. So now I'm just trying to be jolly with it. But yeah, fuck off. We're going to talk about this for
Derek Lewis. We got a good show coming.
I fucking love Derek Lewis so goddamn much.
I'm so glad he won that fight.
I know. Which I was thinking as I'm watching, I'm like, how fucking happy is Fred that Curtis plays that shit?
I didn't win nothing, but I picked Derek Lewis on DraftKings, baby.
Oh boy. So I go in for the procedure, and they took some biopsies, and they needed to check some other stuff out.
Sure.
But But anyway, so I go in and I have a phobia. Essentially, at this point, I have a phobia of being put to sleep. Right. I have not been put to sleep. I have a phobia of it at this point. I know the drug they give you makes you feel really fucking good. Mm-hmm. I have a mental block where I'm like, I don't want drugs to make me feel good.
Sure.
Because I'm
you just
worried.
Don't want even right. Don't want to go down that alley.
Legit, dude. I live in fear.
Right.
Of getting into a car accident
and then having to take a Vicodin
or not even that.
Just getting the Vicodin on the way to the hospital, morphine or whatever.
I get into a car accident. I'm not even conscious, and they put a fucking morphine drip in me.
Right.
And then when I'm done, well, I'm saying fuck off to my family, fuck off to everybody.
You wake up like fucking Jim Carrey from The Mask.
I'm chasing the dragon again, dude. So, and I legit like live in fear of that happening. If against my will, essentially, I'm given fucking morphine or something, I have no control over it, and that awakens a goddamn demon in my soul.
Hold on. Quickly, to sort of bring this real quickly to MMA, since we're here on the topic, what were your thoughts on what Sugar Sean O'Malley said about heroin? I shared, I think I fucking said something about it on Keyboard Warriors.
I haven't heard it.
Oh, you hadn't heard what he
said?
Okay, well, not verbatim. I'm going to fuck it up a little bit. Basically, what he said was something like, I don't see the problem with just trying heroin. I'm not going to get addicted to it. I'm too strong-willed for that. My mind's too strong. You only get addicted. I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but essentially this is what he said. Basically, they sort of like only pussies and losers get addicted to something. I could just put it down if I wanted to.
Yeah.
And I'll jump in real quick with just saying that I fucking took that little snippet and retweeted it and said, don't fucking listen to this guy. Don't ever fucking try heroin, because I don't care how strong you think you are when you do these sort of drugs. You're more, again, girls that are out there sucking dick for heroin and meth right now, they never thought they'd fucking suck a cock for drugs. They surely never planned on it, but as you do those drugs, they break down the fiber of your
well, and what he's talking about is basically nihilism, which is
right.
You there is a belief system, and it's probably very true, which is if you legalized every single drug ever, right? There's no limits on anything. Any drug, anything that fucks you up, you can take.
Right.
You would basically genetically get rid of the addiction gene, which addiction, we are predisposed to addiction, not just through family, but through genetics.
Right.
I mean, they've identified what is essentially an addiction gene.
And listen,
so if you legalized every drug in the world, you'd essentially rid addiction. The problem is, in the process of that, you would have also rid people like me that could overcome it and do big things.
Listen, it's fucking entrapment.
Yes.
There's a reason a cop has to tell you he's a cop. There's a reason a whore has to tell you she's a fucking whore. You got to know the fucking rules, but you're playing with the game. You can't just fucking do that and be like, oh, sorry, dummies. Oh, you like feeling good? Oh, fucking 90% of y'all really like feeling good? Imagine that. Now you're going to fucking die. I mean, the thing about addiction is I realize that some people do definitely have the power to get over it or get out of it, but it's also there's a reason why it's addictive, because it kicks fucking ass. Cigarettes, for instance. I've always said this before. Cigarettes are the most ridiculous thing in the world to me. Nobody gets addicted to cigarettes at a legal age.
Well, it's like it's like essentially what he's saying, by the way, and this will be a perfect segue back into my experience.
Because I'm going to fucking go crazy with the cigarettes.
Yeah, there's going to be like a perfect segue back into that.
Okay.
That's almost like him saying, like, I could go get propofol, which is what they use to put me to sleep, right? I could go get propofol, and I wouldn't fall asleep. It wouldn't even fucking matter. Right.
And
it's like, oh, you're going to fall asleep, buddy.
Well,
you have any control over that.
Right.
When especially heroin, right, which is a very potent opiate, right?
It's the most potent opiate on the
It is going to hit pieces of your brain that you do not have control over.
Sure.
I don't care if you have the strongest mind on. Now, that doesn't mean that everyone tries heroin becomes a heroin
Absolutely.
addict.
I know. Exactly.
But at the same time, you are accessing.
It's going to tickle some shit that ain't never been tickled before.
Exactly.
Jack. For sure.
And you have no idea what that's going to do to your wiring. So, like,
let me tell you something.
Fuck him, first of all, for even saying that. That is a ridiculous statement.
Absolutely.
And especially to the very, I would guess,
young, naive crowd that might be listening to him.
Correct.
Fuck young, naive
come
men.
on, dude.
Are you fucking out of your mind?
That's some bullshit, dude.
Listen, we pretty much turned this into the fucking drug episode. We'll get it back on track here soon enough, guys. I swear. But I think maybe all bullshit aside, some of this is probably somewhat important. And I want to say one thing, man. Every once in a while, you ask somebody a question throughout life, and they give you an answer, and it really sticks with you. That's happened to me a couple times in my life, man, where I've asked sort of a mundane question that I didn't necessarily think I'd ever remember, and somebody gave me a fucking answer so profound that I never forgot it. One time I was talking to my Uncle Shorty about my mother, who is a drug addict. She's been a drug addict my whole life. At that time, she was addicted to crack. Now she's addicted to heroin. She's like a fucking fad drug user. Whatever drug's popular, that's the way she rides. I was like 15 years old at the time. I remember talking to my Uncle Shorty at the kitchen table, and I was talking about my mom because she was gone and, fucking wasn't with her kids. She's out fucking smoking yank. I dabbled with weed and shit, so I sort of understood a little bit about addiction, but I remember asking him, like, I don't get it, man. How can somebody fucking like leave their family and their kids? How can anything be that powerful? I don't understand it. And I'll never forget my Uncle Shorty's response to me, man. He said, you like 15, 16. He said, you ever had any pussy before? I said, yeah. He said, so you've busted a nut. You know what it's like to have an orgasm? I said, yeah. He said, the first time I shot cocaine, it felt like I had an orgasm for 30 minutes straight. And I never forgot that. I tell you what, I never fucking tried cocaine either. Right. That just put it, maybe it's just because I'm a guy, and at the time I was fucking tugging the pud for fucking 3 seconds of that every chance I got. Right. But that just put it in such perspective that it's like, fuck me. You couldn't control that. I mean, look at all guys. You start masturbating. We're all chasing that. We look at every man on planet Earth that's done absurd shit to get 5 seconds of that nut buzz. Right? Can you imagine doing something that would make you feel like that for 30 minutes straight? Or it scared me. It sounds so fun.
Or in my instance, having severe anxiety since I was early in high school. And I'm not talking like I'm nervous in crowds.
Right.
I'm talking
like I'm fucking shaking and sweating.
I'm talking I'm sitting on the couch and then all of a sudden it feels like I'm being chased by a lion, essentially.
Right.
And I'm
fucking can't breathe.
Yeah. I can't breathe. My fucking face feels like it's numb. I'm just like, it's awful. I mean, it's an awful experience. And you try something.
Well, it helps.
That shit not just helps. This shit goes away.
Fuck yeah, it does.
It fucking goes away.
Uncle Hank comes in and fucking clears the path, Jack.
I remember because I started with Vicodin, and I remember the first time I took
You felt that high?
Yeah, I mean, I dropped 2. I think they were footballs, and I dropped 2, and I remember having a thought go through my brain, which was, this must be what everybody else feels like.
Yep.
I remember just thinking, and I was probably, at the time I was 17, I think. I just remember thinking, like, this is what everybody else feels like. And I now have a chance to feel that way, too.
Well, that's the problem.
And then that just spiraled,
Dude, listen, I smoked weed once. My friends are heathens. Most of my friends started smoking dope when they were fucking 12, 13. So the first time I smoked weed, I was 12 or 13 with those little idiots. Smoked in the alley. I'll never forget it. But nothing happened. I remember we smoked and I was waiting for fucking the Magic Mountain to come around. Nothing happened. I thought, well, fuck, that's stupid. I ain't doing that no more. I ain't smoked for like 2 or 3 years after that. I sort of started smoking weed a bit late in the game to be from Dayton. I didn't really start smoking until like 16, 17. Well, I guess maybe 15, 16. Freshman year of high school, I smoked again. Smoked a blunt with my homeboys outside of school, and it happened. I got high for the first time. I was like, son of a bitch, there it is. And here we are, boys. So,
pot always gave me anxiety, man.
It's just that high, though. Once you find it, it's really fun. The point of this whole conversation, boys and girls, don't do fucking drugs. No matter what horseshit you hear any of us say, all the joking. Because once you find that high, it's really hard. Like whether it's fucking pot or boo, even for all of us legal people out there. Excuse me. Same thing with booze. Some of y'all out there, you fucking really find the way to properly use whiskey or tequila. You have a problem fucking letting that shit go, man. So
yeah, it's just stay away. Or if you think you have a problem, you do. If you think you have a problem, everyone else thinks you have double the problem. So just keep that in mind. If you're at a place where you're questioning your drinking, you're questioning whatever recreational drug you're using, regardless of what it is, if you think you have a problem, everyone around you thinks that problem is twice as severe. So keep that in mind and get some type of help. There are plenty of stuff out there. It is way easier to get treated for alcohol issues than it is general mental health.
And here's the thing, too, man. For all of me, just to fucking sort of put a cap on this and to put a serious note on it before we get to the fucking real reason y'all are here today to talk about the fights. Don't be embarrassed about that shit, dog. Ain't nothing wrong with being addicted to drugs. Drugs are fucking kick ass. For all the bull, like my mom, I hate drugs. It's no good. Bitch, you've been addicted to dope since I was 6 years old. Clearly, it's good.
Yeah.
Don't be embarrassed. It's okay. It makes perfect sense that people get addicted to drugs. Like you said, we all come to drugs for all kinds of various reasons, and it makes fucking sense because the drugs. Again, I think I said this when we were just pre-recording, but. And people are like, "Oh man, do yoga, Jack. You know, eat healthy, take a run, suck my ass. Don't nothing work like smoking a fucking blunt or doing a big rail. Like that shit takes your fucking. Like you said, yeah, you fucking felt like you were getting chased by mountain lions. I'm sure people breathe, Kyle. Count 10. Look at the fucking sheeps. You took a fucking Vicky, and that motherfucking shit said, "Bing." Them motherfucking lions were gone, and so. Don't feel embarrassed about that shit, man. There's plenty of help out there for you. Do not feel embarrassed. Just seek the help, and you know, it's very much doable to get off of dope too. Yeah. Fucking hard, but very much doable.
So don't worry about getting the procedure, Fred.
Okay.
We'll tie it down. Yeah. Don't worry about it. I laid in there, had a panic attack before they put it in because I was like, I don't want to do this.
Right.
She's like, you're all right. She told me to lay down.
You mean put it in? What do you put it in?
Medicine. The medicine to make me go to sleep.
Okay.
That's what make me go to sleep. No. They wait till you're asleep. They wait till you're asleep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's not bad then.
Although the last thing they do before you went to sleep is like, so she injected the medicine without me even knowing. Because I was having a panic attack, and they were able to get me to kind of lay down, and they just put it in, and we're like, you're going to fall asleep in just a second here. And then they're like, well, you have to put the bite thing in before you fall asleep, because they had to stick the tube down your throat. So that I put the bite thing in my mouth, and I remember saying to them, I'm not going to fall asleep, because my chest was really hot, and I was still feeling like a panic attack. I was like, I'm not going to be able to fall asleep. And she's like, you'll be okay. Just take a couple deep breaths. I was like, I'm telling you, I'm not going to be able to fall asleep. And then I woke up in the recovery room. Yep. I mean, it was that quick, dude. It was like, It feels like you took the quickest nap on earth.
Yeah, it's the weirdest thing in the world.
I mean, I'm literally down. I remember saying that to him, and then all of a sudden, I'm in the recovery room, and I don't really remember the first few minutes in the recovery room. And funny story, then we'll transition out. When I woke up, I texted my wife, who was and I guess I kept asking the nurse for my phone.
Yeah.
So she finally found my phone and gave it to me. And I texted my wife, and this is how she knows I'm awake and alive.
Yeah.
Is she gets a text from me that says, we should do this more often.
Yeah.
And then I think she says, hi, Dad. You know what I mean? And I go, I feel fucking great.
Yeah, listen.
And I have no recollection of sending her that text.
That getting put under shit is for the birds.
Woo!
I ain't been put under for, I got my wisdom teeth cut out probably about 10 years ago. And I got put under, and like you said, I was fucking I was so panicky, dog, because I hadn't been put under my whole life and shit. I was so you ain't allowed to eat or drink nothing, son. I was up at 4 a.m. dry heaving in the shower because I was just so nervous.
I didn't sleep the night before. I didn't sleep the night before at all. Not one fucking hour.
So we finally go in. They give me a first little bit of juice, and I'm like, listen, I've been freaking. Is that going to make me calm down? She's like, yep, that's going to make you calm down. Or I said, is that the stuff that's going to put me to sleep? And she said, nah, this is just going to help you calm down a little bit. That bitch no more than got across the room, and I said, hey, for the first time in a long time, I feel all right. You was right about that. She brings another little dose over, right? And I'm like, okay, so that's what's going to put me to sleep, right? And she's like, nope, this is just some more shit to help you relax. That's the last thing I remember. Yeah. And then I woke up, man, and I woke up, and there was a fucking, of course there was a decent-looking nurse there. One of the nurses was a hot little piece of ass. So I wake up, and I'm fucking completely out of it. But I remember going, hey, how old are you? And they all started laughing, and they're like, you've been asking her how old she was for like the last hour. And it's like, yeah, I'm married too, but how old are you? And I was like, what else did I fucking say? Jesus Christ, you guys got to get me out of here. I'm in here self-incriminating myself, for fuck's sakes.
They just need to start recording people so they can use that shit.
Oh, my God, yeah.
Fred's admitting to fucking murders.
In jail and shit. Get me in there under the fucking anesthesia, Jack.
Oh, boy. All right, don't do drugs. If you have to get a procedure done to check on your health, don't be afraid. Just fucking do it.
And do not bring your fucking old lady with you if you're going to get put on anesthesia, because you don't know what you're saying when you're out.
There it is, baby.
Listen, if you got a Gumar or a side bitch,
if you got some skeletons in your closet,
keep her at home, Jack. Like, yo, listen, don't let her come in here. I don't know what the fuck I'm going to say if you put that fucking magic juice on me.
Oh, my God. All right, let's get into the fight.
All right, let's transition.
Do you want to talk about the fucking 12-pound weight miss? Do you want to talk about
not really
the fight getting canceled in the cage?
Let's start about the weight miss, because I really don't want to talk about that. 12 pounds. I mean,
that's not even a weight miss.
Well, for fuck's sake.
You missed the weight class above yours.
You just took the words right out. You didn't even make 50. That was like when fucking Anthony Johnson could barely make 70, then he came in for a middleweight bout at like 190. It was like, damn, bro. You should probably be at light heavyweight, Jack. Like, fuck you. Like, you were supposed to be at featherweight, bro. You came in at 157. Are you out of your fucking mind? Like, we should never let you fight in this organization again for pulling a stunt like that.
He blamed salmon.
Who?
He blamed salmon.
Salmon?
Yeah.
The fish?
He said he ate some salmon.
And it gave him 9 pounds. He ate some salmon. That's about the damnedest thing I've ever heard of. What the fuck does that got to do with anything,
my guy? He said the salmon like messed with his stomach, so he had to hydrate again.
Oh, Jesus
and
fucking.
He couldn't get the weight. Yeah.
You know what?
Why the fuck you eating salmon that close to a fight then, dude?
If he had told me that, I would have fucking cut him. I'd be like, you know what? Just go on and be honest. Tell me you was fucking, you drank the water and you broke down and had yourself a little piece of cake. Don't give me no bullshit about salmon. The salmon didn't fuck up your pH balance, bro. You just fucked up big time.
So you want to talk about Emmers?
What happened with that? What are you talking about?
The Chaz Skelly. It was Jamal Emmers, right? Am I wrong?
I think so, yeah. No, because the Drakkar close, right? You talking about the fight that didn't happen?
No, I'm talking about the fight that got canceled in the cage.
What the fuck happened? What did I miss?
Oh, you missed this? This was prelims.
Oh, maybe. What happened?
Okay. So Chaz Skelly's standing in the cage.
Oh, yeah, I did miss this. I watched like the first fucking 2 minutes of the fight, and then I had to fucking go fuck with my goddamn kids for something. So plus my internet kept fucking up on me.
So Chaz Skelly is in the cage when they come in and they say the fight's canceled.
Oh, what the fuck?
So he does a walkout. They do the whole introduction.
Okay.
Like Laura Sanko doing the whole thing.
And then my internet went out, and my kid needed a grilled cheese. And when I came back, I just assumed the fight was over.
Yeah.
What happened?
Got canceled.
Why?
I think back spasms. From I think it was Emmers.
So he just didn't even come out to the cage?
That's what I'm saying. He never even walked out. Chaz Skelly walks out. They do the whole thing. You got Laura Sanko doing her thing.
No, wait a minute. No, check it. I think you're wrong.
No.
Did I not watch Chaz Skelly get his ass whipped last night?
No.
Fuck that. Google it. No bullshit.
Hold on. I'll pause it. All right, we're back on.
Charles Rosa.
Okay,
that's what it was.
So he was thinking Charles Rosa. So
yeah, I was confusing Chaz Skelly with Charles Rosa.
Okay, so you did not see the Chaz Skelly thing. So Chaz Skelly is...
I did watch him come out to the cage, though, and so all that was true. And then I was just confusing. I mixed up, and I seen Charles Rosa taking the beating. I guess Charles Rosa and Chaz Skelly fought one time. There's so many goddamn fighters. It's hard to keep track of these cocksuckers.
So Chaz Skelly's standing in the cage. And again, everything is normal. Normal introduction, normal walkout. I love the way they do this thing now, where Laura Sanko's staying on the side of the cage and she's talking, and then the camera kind of zooms over her, and she's still talking, and then it follows fighter coming out. Yeah. I really like how that shit looks. I hope they keep that up. But anyway, whole normal thing, and they're out there standing in the octagon, and then all of a sudden, canceled. Fight's off. And they didn't say why in the cage. They just said, due to health, whatever, the fight's off. And then Chaz Skelly goes back mic and handles it with as much tact and grace as anybody could fucking handle a situation like that. He basically just says, am I going to get paid? Like, not only did I do my thing, but I was actually in the fucking cage, do I get paid? Like,
I mean, but to be fair, if the answer to that question is yeah, oh, happy day.
Yeah,
rack my check up and then sign me up for the next event.
Well,
I get
he was saying,
pay, right? Like,
and then I think Bisping asked him, and he's like, Bisping, you're doing a great job, and whatever. He was really awesome.
To be fair,
he was a really good dude.
If he said I'm getting paid, if I'm DW, it's like, nah, motherfucker, we'll give you half. I mean, you're in the cage, but bro, you did fuck all work. Like homeboy didn't even make it out there to fight you.
I think you have to pay him. I mean, I think
the whole thing. Oh, fuck off.
Win and show.
You know what? I see why I like Dana White. I relate to him. No way. The whole thing?
Dude, he's in the cage.
I don't give a fuck. He didn't do his job. Half you get paid half because you did make it to the cage.
But he didn't do his job because he wasn't given an opportunity to. And it's not like the thing, I'm with you if the shit's canceled before you ever get out there. But if you're fucking standing in the goddamn cage and the fight gets canceled,
listen,
bro.
I'll tell you what.
I'm sorry that the gods caused that shit to happen, but like, bro, pay the man.
65%.
That's as high as I'm going to go.
I ain't giving you 100% for not doing your goddamn job.
That's as high as I'm going to go.
I feel you too. I also think that's very unfortunate that you're, what was it again? Back spasms? That's fucked. Yeah, that's bad. But considering as how you didn't even have to throw a jab. Well, and also, again, we're going to get you another fight.
Well, and does Jamal Emmers get paid anything at all? You know what I mean?
Hell no. Jamal Emmers, back spasms. I mean, listen, far be it from me to, back spasms to fuck, but you ain't getting paid 2 fucking red nickels, Jack. Sorry. No. You better bring you and the back spasms out to the cage and take this L. get you a quick submission right quick.
At the very least, just walk in, lay on your back, and just get submitted. Yeah,
the back spasm must have been bad if you couldn't hump out to the cage.
Listen, we saw that back in the day. If you, oh my God, who was it? Who was it? Keith, the like 11-second fight that was very obviously thrown.
In Pride?
No, in the UFC, early UFC, they were teammates and they had to fight each other because someone had pulled out or somebody got hurt, whatever it was. So 2 teammates had to fight, and the dude got caught in like a neck crank in 11 seconds while standing. It was so obviously a thrown fight because he wanted his teammate to be able to go on. Oh my God, I cannot for the life of me remember who it is.
Oh yeah, we'll come back to it.
Taktarov? Is that his name?
Oleg Taktarov?
I'm pretty sure that's who it was.
That's a fighter, but I don't know who the fuck is. I don't know who.
And then I think it was. I can't remember. I could look it up, but I'm not going to.
Okay, yeah.
Someone knows what the fuck I'm talking about, and that's what I'm talking about.
Keith's out there.
Go do that. Go do that. Walk in the cage and fucking stick your head in his goddamn crevice of his armpit and just get choked out and leave.
Well, to be fair, though, I guess all bullshit aside, if you actually have any sort of inkling of your career, you don't want to put a nail on there. So you're probably like, "Fuck that. My back's fucked. I'm just sorry."
And Chad Skelly was like, because someone's like, "Well, what if they try to book the fight next week?" He's like, "I'm not going to put my body through that." He goes, I'm not trying to be rude. I'm not trying to be unhelpful, but like, I'm not going to yo-yo and put my body through what I just put it through. Like, I at least need some time to, he's like, I wasn't cutting weight and the fight got canceled. I did everything. I then rehydrated back up and walked out to the fucking cage. Like, he didn't say fucking, of course, but he's like, I walked out, like, I'm not going to just next week take the fight. Like, I'm not going to do that to my body.
Yeah, listen. I respect that. You wouldn't be the first person that would have done this, though.
Sure.
Like
he's the first person to get that fucking far.
Well, right. Well, in the cage, yes, but there have been a lot.
Because I don't even think
there's been a lot of fights canceled on fight day, though, for earlier that day for whatever. Well, no, I mean,
did anyone even make it to the cage when Kevin Randleman had to pull out when he slipped and he hit his head on a pipe?
I guess not.
I don't think anyone even made it. I think
to the cage.
I think this is like the first time this has ever happened.
Well, yeah, where the guy's like literally
someone's
waiting
in the fucking cage.
Well, yeah,
and they're like
in the UFC for
in
sure.
the UFC,
yeah. Yeah, that's terribly unfortunate, but
I'm sure there's another example where this has happened, but I don't know. I feel
like you said,
this has got to be like
maybe not with the guy in the fucking cage.
Yeah, I mean, I think this has got to be the first time where someone's like in the cage.
I think so,
and
too.
like waiting for the guy, and they're like, "Oh, well, this fight ain't happening." Like.
Yeah, but like again, I don't know, how if his back spasms were severe. To be fair, dude, your back is.
If I'm the UFC, I understand. If I'm the UFC don't make as much money because I'm generous,
right?
But how I would want to handle it is I would give Chas Skelly win and show, and I would give Jamal Emmers show.
Damn, you give him the win bonus too?
I go, yeah.
Oh, God. No, sorry. No,
I'd give him win and show, and I'd give Jamal show. Well, and then I would say, we'll book the fight in 3 weeks or a month or whatever it is and get you back out there.
Yeah, no.
That's what I mean.
Basically, we're paying you to make weight, dude. Yeah. Oh, poor you. Poor Chaz. You're in the... What the fuck? You cut weight and made it to the cage? Now we got to pay you fucking $40,000?
Dude, he's got all of his family watching it. Like...
I mean, okay. I didn't ask your fucking partner to get back spasms. I'm sorry, bro. But, like... I understand paying for his camp and making sure that he... Like, I would make sure that he's not taking a loss. And then maybe, a little 5 bands in his pocket. Bro, we're not paying you fucking win bonus for fucking cutting weight and making it to the cage. That was your job. That's what you were supposed to do to get here. So, like, you should probably get paid for showing up, but like,
But I feel like Jamal Emmers should get paid too at the end of the day. Because he also had to get there. You have something that's uber unfortunate.
Maybe a little bit.
It's not anybody's fault. So when it's not anybody's fault, who can afford to take the loss?
Sure,
Chas Skelly and Jamal Emmers or the UFC?
Sure, I guess
who's the one that can afford to be like, God caused something to happen?
Sure,
right? We're now going to
And
someone needs to make it
fair
right.
enough. If I was the UFC, I don't think, again, it's also, listen, if I'm the UFC, all due respect to you and Gotti Boy himself, it's also not my fault. DW didn't come in here and kick you in the back. So let's find some fucking middle ground here.
What if we find footage where fucking Dana just fucking drop kicks Jamal Emerson in the fucking back?
Oh, your fucking back's having spasms? Try this, you pussy. You want to be a fighter?
You want to be a fighter? That's the new season of Tough. It's just Dana White
saying
drop kicking everybody in the fucking back. You want to be a fighter? Just drop kick.
I think he should be compensated for his camp and stuff. I wouldn't want to see the guy. I don't want to see anybody lose money. At the very least, you should be compensated for your time and stuff like that for sure.
Yeah,
fair enough.
Let's get to Derek Lewis and. Let's get to Derek Lewis. I do have something else I want to say, but let's get to Derek Lewis and Curtis Blades.
Yeah.
So I think that fight went as well as it could go for a lot of people. I like Curtis Blades, but at the end of the day, Derek Lewis is just so much more of an interesting character.
Yep.
And, dude, his fucking post was wonderful. Not right after the fight. Right after the fight, he was a little funny, but after the Florisenko, where he's talking about, he's like, my heart was heavy today, is what he said, and she kind of tried to dig in a little bit, like, what's going on? He's like, I knew you were gonna ask that. That's all you guys want. He goes, I'm saving that for Oprah. I love that. I'm saving that for Oprah.
Yeah.
So he didn't say what it was, so we have no idea what's going on with it.
It's probably.
But dude, he's such an interesting character, and that's the kind of win you need. I've for whatever reason, I want to love Derek Lewis, and I want to think that he's the shit. And when you look at the numbers he's putting up, dude, it's there. He now has like tied for the most knockouts in the UFC or something stupid, and he's like second or something on the wins at heavyweight. I don't know what all he's got, but it's like I want to be like, oh, Derek Lewis is the shit,
right?
But I think he's going to lose to. There's 3 possible fights for him: Stipe, Ngannou, and John Jones. He called out Overeem. But I think there's 3 possible fights for him.
That's like Conor calling out Diego.
It's like, come on. Yeah. There's 3 fights for him. Essentially, it's one of those 3, and I think he loses all 3.
Well, I would argue that maybe the Volkov rematch makes a little sense, too. I think that matter of fact, I would even maybe argue that's might be what we get. Because you remember, Volkov beat the fuck out of Derek Lewis for 24 and a half minutes. Then Derek Lewis landed 1 punch and slept him at the very, 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 very end of that fucking fight. So, and they've both had some pretty interesting arcs in their careers since that fight. So I think that fight makes a lot of sense, and they might actually make it, considering Volkov is the one that just beat the fuck out of Overeem. Like, why the fuck, that fight makes perfect sense. Because I don't think John Jones ain't fighting Derek Lewis. Much as I like that, that's not happening. And I'm pretty sure Francis and Stipe are going to fight each other. So I don't think I think Francis and Stipe are. Well, they are. That fight's set right for March. It's happening. And then, to the best of my knowledge, John gets the winner of that fight.
Yeah.
So that leaves Derek Lewis on the sidelines looking in anyway. So I actually think more than likely the Volkov fight probably will be where they go next. Now, I would argue that I don't necessarily. On one hand, I agree with you, and I think that's the obvious thing to make would be that Derek Lewis has some obvious upsides, but that we know what his ceiling is. I would be willing to push back on knowing what his ceiling is a little bit. Listen, last night was impressive.
No, I'm not even. I'm acknowledging a bias is what I'm doing. I'm not.
Sure.
I'm acknowledging that I have a lot of trouble seeing it. And even when people talk about him having all this power, I was like, dude, he hasn't just straight up knocked someone out, really. It's always on the ground. He's able to get him to the ground or something, but he's not just knocking people out and they're going down stiff.
Right.
That's not really the way he gets. Same thing with Conor. Most of Conor's knockouts, that's not how he's getting them.
TKO type vibe.
Yeah, he's getting them and he's hurting them and he's getting them down and then he's finishing it. Right. Where people were talking about Derek Lewis's power as if he was just
it's like
sleeping people. He really wasn't. He fucking did last night.
Yeah, it's a sort of different
sort
of power, I guess, the way he would knock guys down and pound them out, as opposed to how Francis sort of just Tyson's you on the feet.
Correct.
Type
You're
vibe.
just all of a sudden you're there.
You're asleep before you hit the ground. Yeah. But definitely, Derek Lewis has got the power though. But when you look back,
he proved it last night.
Yeah, when you look at Derek Lewis's career, So look, right? We got the Ngannou fight, which was really weird. But listen, Ngannou's also fucking Ngannou. One of you poor pricks get in there and fight with Ngannou. Let's see if your hands are fucking real fucking eager to jump out of your pockets. And, and Francis didn't do a whole lot of swinging either. That fight fucking sucked for both men. Francis won it, but you can give that one back to the Indians for all me. Now you look at his other losses, and Derek Lewis has been fighting for years, so I could be fucking forgetting a couple losses. But the one that stands out is the DC loss. Grappling is clearly, if you had to
and
say...
the other thing is that was probably DC's easiest fight that he's had in a hot minute.
Well, and that's what I'm saying.
I think that's where I'm like, it's hard for me to buy too much into Derek Lewis.
Here's the thing. So there's two things, right, for me with Derek Lewis. A, grappling deficiencies, right? We can all say, like, obviously, clearly, DC exposed that. And I think most of you fucking pricks last night assumed that Curtis Blades was going to exploit that.
He was a pretty heavy underdog.
And win that fight.
He was a pretty heavy underdog.
Okay, so... Well, that didn't happen. And it's not like Derek Lewis knocked him out in the first minute of the first round. He had to grapple him. He had to grab him. He had to push him off him a couple times. He had to prove that he can handle a high-level grappler trying to get a hold of him and get out of it. He did that. There was a couple times where Curtis Blades flat went for the takedown and couldn't get it, all things considered.
Yeah.
And then, when he got slept, he was sneaking in for a takedown, and fucking Derek Lewis knocked the fuck out of him.
And he kept
Perfectly
saying
placed uppercut.
The game plan was uppercut or knee.
So he's fighting smart. He looked in tremendous shape. He looked really fucking good, to be fair. There's been a few fights where Derek Lewis came in, and he just looks like a guy who's like, that motherfucker, a little flabby looking. He just looks like a really big dude that can hit hard. He actually looked somewhat like an athlete last night. And here's another thing that I think might be flying a bit under the radar that we all need to sort of take a little seriously. Listen, Derek Lewis has been telling y'all for a month of Sundays that his back is fucked. He's been telling y'all that it's real, real bad. He said before that DC fight that his back was really bad. His back, his neck. I mean, he's talked about fucking retirement before because of how bad his fucking back is. Now, who knows? Maybe a little bit of that's fucking hyperbole and horseshit, but he says now that the back is better than ever, that he's got it fixed, that it's good. Hey, maybe it is. You ever think maybe he's telling the truth? Maybe he really was hindered, and his back really was fucked up. Because I tell you what was the one fight, man? Was it I think it was like Alexei Oleinik. He was fighting somebody, Jack, and somebody had him on the ground, and they were on top of him, and they were a good grappler.
We got to talk about Oleinik too.
Oleinik. I think it was Oleinik that was on top of him and had him in like a key lock or something, and Derek Lewis just kind of went, nah. He just fucking sat up like the Undertaker, Jack, threw him off of him, went ahead and got up. I mean, he's got that sort of that Fedor Emelianenko streak, that sort of, he doesn't look like Brock Lesnar, but Derek Lewis is a very, very strong, powerful fucking man. Like, he don't even necessarily have to have the great intricacies of grappling to sort of push through something because he's just so goddamn strong. Oh, you're going to Kimura me? Pfft, not so much. I'm just going to fucking lift you off that arm because I'm fucking huge and powerful.
Yeah.
If Derek Lewis's back is right and he gets that grappling shit in control, I don't know. I'm not going to go out on a limb and say we're looking at a future champ, but I tell you what, I don't know what a fight with him and Francis looks like. I don't.
In real life, yeah.
Well, or now. Say Francis beats Stipe hypothetically, and they fight again. I don't know if Francis comes in and just starches.
It's like yes, we've seen it, but what did we see?
That wasn't it. Right. If they fought again,
it's going to be very different.
It would be very different, and I would not rule Derek landing the good punch. I mean, I would favor Francis obviously, but. I don't know, man. I don't know. Last night was very big for Derek Lewis. It proved that he can handle a absolute top of the line grappler.
I think the second time around, the way that fight looks is Ngannou just swarms, and we've kind of seen Derek Lewis
fold a little bit,
just kind of fold a little bit, and it's like when
but he's never been knocked out, right? Has he? And I'm wrong.
Know.
Like I said, he's been in the UFC for a long time. I don't want to misspeak here,
I don't remember.
I don't think he's been stopped by.
No, I think he's been he's been TKO'd before.
By who?
It was. I know it's happened. I can't remember who it was.
Has.
But he wasn't out or anything.
Right.
The fight I'm thinking of, I think it even might have been stopped on the feet.
Yeah, and I think it was like the back thing, right? Am I tripping? Am I giving?
Yeah, I mean,
excuses for
I
the
think it
back
was a
thing?
bunch of body shots, and it was a bunch of just like, yeah, I think he just
Mark
kind
Hunt
of
or something. I'd have to.
It was something. Yeah, it was something like that. I can't remember who it was, but it was. Yeah.
But I tell you what. I'm curious about. I don't think I know what Derek Lewis's ceiling is. To be fair, at this point, I don't think I know. I thought I did, and I think that if Curtis Blades would have came out and had his way and taken Derek down and just done whatever he want with him, I think I would have been like, okay, well, yep, there it is, right? You know, Derek Lewis is a fucking strong guy that hits like a Mack truck, but if you're a high-level grappler, you can get him to the ground, and he's quite easy to deal with.
He got TKO'd by Junior Dos Santos.
Okay.
He also got TKO'd by Mark Hunt.
Okay. Oh, there we go.
The Mark Hunt was the one I was thinking of.
I think it was the one I was thinking of, too.
And then he also got TKO'd early on by Sean Jordan.
Oh, yeah. That was some bullshit.
That
was some bullshit. I remember that.
And he got KO'd by Matt Mitrione.
Fun fact. Ooh. I don't remember that one. Fun fact about the Sean Jordan fight. We interviewed him on Stand and Bang the day after that fucking Derek Lewis knockout.
His second fight was against Sean Jordan. He lost that one.
Yeah, we interviewed Sean Jordan the day after that fight. And listen, he was a bit of a twat, to be completely fair.
Sure.
Fucking.
Where's he at now? What is he doing?
Who the fuck knows? He's fucking changing tires at Hardee's or something.
I feel like he was in Bellator at one point. Here, I'm looking up Sean Jordan real quick. This podcast is so interesting. No, he was in the PFL.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Anyway, he last fought against Josh Copeland in the PFL, and he lost.
I still wonder about fucking Derek Lewis's ceiling. I think last night's fight was a good indicator that he's evolved a lot as a fighter, and he might be able to he might be able to actually wear the fucking belt, man. Maybe. Right matchup, right time, he might just be able to do it. Listen, say they make the fucking Volkov rematch tomorrow. Who do you pick in that fight? Volkov? I think I picked Volkov, too. You know what? Fuck that. I'm picking Derek Lewis.
Listen, I'll pick Derek Lewis just because I want Derek Lewis to win. So it's like,
same.
But I don't know if that's not really a good strategy, you know?
Well, yeah. But, I don't know. Maybe I'm just riding Derek Lewis. Hey, listen, if Derek knocked you out with 10 seconds, this time he's got 25 minutes. Going in the fight, he knows he can knock you out. He's just got to land the one. I mean, it feels like him and his coaches will be like, all right, bro, listen, let's watch this fight. Let's see what you did wrong all 24 minutes. Let's avoid that. We know that homeboy can be knocked out. We just got to set a couple traps, get you close enough to hit this big white boy one time, and down he goes. We know the end of this story. Like, we can get you, and we know you can take a beating from him because you took a beating from him for 24 fucking minutes the first time y'all fought. Like, the problem with Volkov in that fight for me is we know that Derek Lewis can take Volkov's punishment, and we know that Volkov cannot take Derek Lewis's punishment. So going into that fight, it's a strange dichotomy. I heavily favor Volkov. I think he's a way better striker. But the fact that he couldn't put Derek Lewis away after beating on him for 24 minutes and then Derek Lewis put him away in 10 seconds after being beat on for 24 minutes would make me highly fucking suspect of picking Volkov. What the fuck? Like, even from a technical standpoint.
Yeah. How do you feel about seeing Olenek get taken out?
Okay.
I feel like you've been one of the guys that have been pretty outspoken.
I love Olenek because I love a good submission heavyweight. Always was a big fan of Frank Mir. Loved Minotauro Nogueira. There's just something sexy about a big man being able to fucking submit and move like that. You don't usually see it, so I love that shit. Listen, Alexei Olenek looked 132 years old, to be completely fair, though. The motherfucker had a whole white beard. I mean, the whole Polish power thing or whatever the fuck, that's one thing. Olenek is fucking old. He's had like 100 fights and shit. What can you say? What are you going to do, right? A younger, stronger dude threw him a beating. I think the more interesting topic about this whole thing is Herb Dean. Herb Dean was getting dragged, bro, on Twitter. But, I think it was justified. I think Herb definitely fucked up a couple times last night. I mean, listen, he definitely almost let Curtis Blades die. And then Olenek definitely took probably about 3 or 4 more fucking hard punches than he needed to take. But I do think that there's a lot of crybabies on MMA Twitter. MMA Twitter is very, it's a bit fucking social justice-y, to be fair. Like, I mean, one wrong thing happens, boy, and everybody on MMA Twitter, Herb Dean's the worst referee in the world. I mean, listen, I know Herb's been a little on the shitty side. There's no doubt about it. He's made some bad decisions, and just judging last night alone, the fucking Olenek fight was bad, and the Derek Lewis shit was fucked. Like I said, they said that motherfucking Curtis Blades was snoring. But we went to commercial break and came back, and they're like, Curtis Blades is still on the ground, snoring through his nose. It's like, damn, that's not good at all. and then just the chilling sound of Derek Lewis going, "That's your fault, Herb. That's Herb Dean's fault." Damn, scared me, Jack. I just killed a man, blamed it on Herb in the same sentence. Sorry, I had to kill that boy because Herb ain't doing the job right. Like, damn. And Herb's probably thinking, come on, motherfucker, chill. You gonna fuck around and get me fired out here.
I mean, do you think that was Herb's fault? Like, do you think that it should have been stopped sooner?
No. To be fair, no. Well, he should have been stopped sooner, yes. Was it Herb's fault? No. I mean, he clubbed him with the uppercut. Dude dropped. And it seemed like, I mean, Derek Lewis jumped right the fuck on him. Herb was right behind him. It's not like Herb fucking moonwalked over there and let him. I mean, he only took 2 shots. It's just that you've got a fucking bear of a man hitting you again. And the truth is, he was asleep with that uppercut. But I don't know. I'd have to go back and rewatch it frame for frame. But from what I can remember, it looked like, he got dropped and Herb was trying to get a good look on it. And the moment he got a good look on it, he was like, stop. Now, Derek did get to hit him 2 more times, but I don't know. Should Herb have screamed stop the moment he seen him get uppercut and go limp? Should he have been like, or does I don't know? Should he have,
and this is what it comes down to. When people are when people are watching this stuff, it's going in fucking slow mo.
Right. It's fucking
when you're in there, you're not even like you're trying to stay as focused as humanly possible. But like as a referee, the same way when you're watching it on TV and you're like, oh shit. The referee's kind of doing that, too.
Absolutely. They have to be.
Where you're like, oh, shit, all right, okay, yeah, get in there.
Yeah, I'm sure he didn't expect him to land that uppercut
exactly.
for fucking dude's
you
knees
can't predict
to buckle.
The fucking future.
Well, right, that's I said. That's what I'm saying. He was there a split second later,
and they don't really jump in as hard as they used to. I'm sure you've seen.
Got to push him off.
I'm sure you've seen the Big John.
Oh, yeah.
Flying
Big John, hit you like a fucking tail in.
Where back in the day, early on, he would come in like that until he fucking busted up. Was it Brian Johnson? Who was it?
Somebody's shoulder.
Yeah, he fucking gave him a bloody nose.
Oh.
When he hopped in, his fucking shoulder hit him in the nose. And
John's pretty big.
From kind of that point on, he chilled out a little bit. Didn't come in as hard. But it's like, yeah, you can't just fucking tackle the guy. Like, you have to kind of get in there and like, oh, stop.
Now, I do think, to be fair, I think the Olenek fight was a little different. I think he probably could have stopped that one a little sooner. But you know what? To be fair, I'm a hypocrite. I'm also the same guy. Well, I sort of hate seeing a fight stop while the guy's still standing.
Why is your avatar on Twitter not the let him bleed guy with your face superimposed on top of it?
That's actually not a bad idea.
That needs to be your fucking...
That's actually not a bad idea.
Or is it just bleed? What does it say?
Yeah, just bleed.
Yeah.
Just bleed. Yeah. Fucking like flexing.
You need to superimpose your face. Blake, if you're listening to this, give that to me. Can you superimpose fucking Daddy Fred's face on that shit?
Good. I will definitely change that to my profile picture if you do that. Yeah, so I don't know. I the people that are calling that an egregious stop, I sort of get it. I mean, he was taking a fucking beat. He was getting beat so bad, homeboy need him in the kisser just to stand him up so he could keep punching him in the face some more. But to be fair,
and then once he backed off, Olenek basically kind of toppled over.
Sure.
Like he was literally being held up by, again, going back to old school MMA, and I can't remember, I think it was Dave Monet, but I can't remember anybody's fucking names anymore.
Right.
But it's just one of those brutal where he's literally just boom, 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 boom,
right,
boom, boom, boom.
Right.
And the guy's literally backed up against the cage, and the only reason he's still standing is because the punches are keeping him on his feet.
Right.
Like, if at any point he walked away, the guy would have followed him.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't remember who that was.
Yeah. I can't. It was probably a bad stoppage. I mean, he probably could have stopped that fight about 3 or 4 real fucking hard punches before. And I guess to be fair, maybe there should be a little more infamous. What's the word I'm looking for? A little more fucking. I don't know, couth shown when it's a heavyweight, or a little more infamous shown on stopping the fight when they're heavyweights, because what the fuck was the gentleman's name? Fighting fucking Olenek?
Oh God, I can't remember off the top of my head now.
Whatever. He's a fucking heavyweight.
And I think he's a good prospect.
Yeah, right. He's a young prospect, obviously. So it's like when you got a dude like that hitting you, you know, or Derek Lewis for record, you know. When Derek Lewis lands 1 or 2 extra punches on your fucking face, it means a lot. You know, if fucking Figueiredo lands another 1 or 2, it's not great, but it's not the same thing as Derek Lewis punching you 2 more times, or you know, a random heavyweight that's got the distance on you. Like, he's fucking hurting you bad.
Yeah. I was trying to see if I could figure out who that fight was, and I cannot find it for the life of me.
Ordinarily, I wouldn't give too much of a fuck about this, but I do want to just throw in the Kuntaskaya fucking.
That was going to be my other thing.
That was interesting.
Go ahead.
Well, I like that. I'm glad that she won the fight. I feel like
Ketlin Vieira is not turning out to be who the fuck. I thought she was the next coming.
Well, right. I
was like, dude, she's
okay.
gonna take, and she misses weight too. I mean, it's just like
that's no bueno. But I felt like that fight sort of got judged like a pride fight, like or just like as an overall fight. Because if I'm not mistaken, it felt like Caitlin won the first 2 rounds, right?
Yeah, but it's the like striking totals were so radically one-sided,
right?
And then the takedowns obviously were one-sided,
right?
But she also whiffed on more than she got, and then the control time, she was controlled on the ground as well, so it wasn't like she had all the control time.
And I guess I'll just be straight up with it. I had a lot of emphasis on 2 things: damage. I can't stand when 2 motherfuckers are standing there and they're like, and the winner is, and one person looks like dog shit and the other person ain't got a scratch on them and they're the fucking winner or loser. I realize that's how it be in a fight sometimes, but it's just hard for me to buy it sometimes when somebody's fucking laid open and their nose is broken and then it's like, oh, the other person lost because they got held down longer. That just, you know, I provide, and the way the fight ends. You know, if you jumped on me a little bit good in the first round or you, like, won the better of the grappling exchange in the first couple of rounds, that's one thing. If at the end of the fight I'm beating the fuck out of you and the whole world knows if this fight goes 10 more seconds, I'm going to stop you. Like, I bust you open, you're bleeding. Like, I am that close to finishing you. I just add a lot of emphasis on that for me. Like, that means a lot to me. Like, the way that fucking... I can't pronounce that broad's last name, so I'm not even going to try to. The Russian broad. The way she ended the fight, though, I was like, yo, she should win that fight, man. Like, she laid her the fuck open. And really, real talk, it was only about 3 or 4 good elbows. But goddamn it, Caitlin, you didn't land one of those elbows. Here y'all are about to get your hand raised, and you're fucking bleeding like a sieve.
Yeah. I was perfectly okay with the winner there. I know, like in MMA decisions, it was pretty heavily skewed toward Vieira.
I think most of MMA Twitter was, too.
But I don't think she won the fight at the end of the day.
Right.
I think by scoring criteria, very possible.
Right.
But like one of the few breaks I'll take away from that is right now. And part of it, I will say a big piece of it is that it's Ketlin Vieira and what I thought she was going to be. And not being that, I'm like, dude, I'm not going to give you benefit of the doubt when you're not the person I thought you're going to be.
Right.
I'm going to skew the whole other direction, which is not how judging works.
Right.
That's also why I'm not an MMA judge, and
exactly.
I'm barely even a podcaster. So,
but that's why I said it feels like that fight was more like a pride scoring sort of event. Like it felt like they judged the whole fight overall. Like it was like, yeah, bitch, you was getting that ass whooped there at the end, and you took a nasty cut. And if that fight would have went a cut hair longer, you probably would have got stopped. That means a lot to me. Like, if there was a 4th round in those fights, I also like thinking that. If there was another round of this fight, how does it go? Now, of course, I fucking forgot about that in the Nate Diaz-Conor 2 fight. Y'all kiss my ass. But truth be told, that's one of those deals. You know, if there was a 6th round in Conor Nate 2, Conor wouldn't have won that fight. Yeah. Nate would have submitted him in that 6th round for sure. He was completely out of fucking gas. He got through the fight, but that was all
he won the 5th, baby.
And he won the 5th, but that was it. If there was a 6th round, Nate could have got that tape. Y'all remember fucking Shane Carwin, Brock Lesnar? That's what O'Connor would have looked like in round 6. And for me, all bullshit aside, that usually matters a lot. Like I put a lot of weight into that, which is not right. That's not how judges normally do it. But that's how I that matters to me, dog. If I know that if that fight keeps going, one person loses, it's hard for me to let them win the fight. You better have really been beating the fuck out of them first 2 rounds, because how the fight ends seems to matter a lot for me.
Anything else?
What else was there? Was there anything else on the card?
There was some stuff, but we can leave it for the recap. Any other news that's outside of the cards that we need to talk about?
Just got a lot of great fights coming up, man. March is going to be fucking intense, dude. How many fucking title fights do we got in March? Like fucking 5 or 6? You want to just quickly before we're done here? Let's just do a quick prediction of all the title fights.
Yeah, let me get to what's next. Okay, so next week is just kind of a
it's a shitbird card. No, not.
Yeah, I mean it's not terrible, but it's.
Dick, but yeah, March 6th is the big one. That's Izzy and Blachowicz, right?
Yeah, so that's all right. So you want to get a prediction for that card?
Yeah, just the title. We got like 5 title fights in March. Let's just do a quick prediction of all. All
right. So on that card, you have 3 title fights.
Right. And then I think the other one's 2.
You have Jan Blachowicz versus Israel Adesanya.
Come on, baby, it's Izzy, right? It's got to be Izzy.
So he's got to be a 2-belt champion.
Oh God,
and a super legitimate one.
And I will say
that's as legitimate that we have seen.
I tell you what, I try not to root for fighters. Boy, I want Izzy to win.
I'm rooting for Izzy.
Just because it makes such a, come on. Then he's holding John Jones' old belt. You cannot, Vince McMahon can't write shit like that.
And then you have the other 2-belt champion, which for me is the much less legitimate, but still more legitimate than Conor was, and certainly more legitimate than Daniel Cormier's.
Right.
When he was 2. I mean,
Amanda Nunes.
Cormier, I think, is probably actually number 2. I think Cormier is just more legitimate than. No, I don't even know. Nunes and Cormier's are both equally legitimate,
right?
AKA, they're really not.
Not because it was the weird sort of division that.
Correct. Like 145 still isn't a division,
and 205 was always John's.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like those kind of cancel each other out, and then you had Conor, which that doesn't count.
Right.
So if Adesanya does it, that shit count. That he becomes the double champ, and then I guess Henry Cejudo. Where do you put that? I mean, I guess
we'll see.
Adesanya's would be similar to Cejudo's.
Well, Henry left,
but then he left. So it's like we need to figure out what Adesanya's going to do next.
Right.
All right. So Amanda Nunes, Megan Anderson. You go Nunes, I assume.
Oh, a little phone call.
It's okay.
No, I'm not.
Whoa.
I'm actually going Megan Anderson. Yep.
All right.
I just listen. I can't give you a reason why. Other than the fact that I just feel like it's time for her to lose. All the greats lose, man. And listen, I do think that Megan Anderson is sneakily talented. She's big. She's a real 45er. Just the same way that Amanda Nunes surprised Cyborg, do not be surprised if Megan Anderson surprises Amanda Nunes. No. Everybody's beatable, man. I mean, Amanda Nunes, y'all forget, Kat Zingano's got a win over her. She can be beaten. Like, I know. It was a long time ago. But she's not undefeated, man. This is not exactly John Jones we're talking about. And I think that, again, it's hard to be a champion for a long time. She
had trouble twice against who was at 125.
Right, Shevchenko. So look, if I had to bet my firstborn child on it, of course, we're all taking Amanda Nunes. That's the smart money. But I got a sneaky feeling, man. I think this is the one. I think she gets upset, man. I think Megan Anderson wins and shocks the world.
And then on that card, you have Peter Yan, Aljamain Sterling. See, that's the one where I think people might be surprised.
Heart says Sterling, head says Yan, man. That's the big one.
My head says Yan, but that's the one where I think people might be a little surprised and see Sterling get that.
Really?
Yeah.
I hope. I think that's very simple. If Sterling can impose the grappling, I think he can absolutely submit Yan. That's the major question. Can he make Yan grapple? Because if he can't, I think he's definitely getting outstruck by Yan. And just to put our feet to the fire, I guess as much as it fucking pains me to say it, I don't think that Aljo is going to be able to get the takedown. I think he's going to be forced to strike, and he's going to – I don't even know if he'll get stopped, but I think he's going to take a beating from Peter Yan.
And then at the end of March, you obviously have Stipe Ngannou.
Ngannou, baby. Got to go.
You think he's going to get it done this time?
Yeah, I do.
I think
and early, first round.
I think
knockout.
he's going to swarm him.
Yep, first round knockout.
And then you have Volkanovski versus Brian Ortega.
Brian or motherfucking Tega.
You think he gets it done?
I'm fucking yes.
I'm Volkanovski all the way there, but
no fucking way.
Speak your truth.
Well, the truth is I've got a hard on for Volkanovski because I don't think he beat Max. So fuck off with that. but so and to be fair. again, if I had to bet my life savings on it, Volkanovski's the safe bet, but boy, is Brian sexy.
Give you Brian.
I just like the way he fights. He's exciting. I think that
How much hair does Brian Ortega have for this fight?
I don't know. He shaved his shit, right?
What's your guess? How much hair has he got this time around?
I would admit that. I would assume that it grows probably pretty quick. He's probably got a little Bieber action going at this point.
Do you think he's gonna have the long hair again?
Oh, I think he's going for it. Yeah, he's growing it out.
Have the shorter hair again, or do you think he's gonna be bald?
Well, it'll be short. He's growing it out. Okay. So he's growing it out. So like whatever. What was that? A couple months ago he fought. He'll probably, like I said, he'll probably be at the Bieber stage.
Okay.
He'll probably look like a fucking ex-member of Nirvana or something like that. Sure. Like he'll be heading there. But yeah, I also really enjoy the way Brian Ortega fights. I think that if Brian Ortega wins, it'll be an exciting finish, and I think that if Volkanovski wins, I don't want to sound like a total casual here, but I think it'll be a sort of mundane, boring, outpointing victory. I don't think he'll beat fucking Brian Ortega up the way that Max Holloway did. So there you go.
All right, Fred. There we go.
There we go.
Great show, my friend.
Show the book. Yeah, we started off on a good note today.
Don't do drugs, kids. Don't do drugs.
Don't do drugs. There you go.
See ya.
Late.